What's poppin', y'all? Designer's finally coming back after his mind-blowing actions on a plane coming back from, I believe it was Tokyo, Japan, to America, where he flashed himself and did a couple of other things in front of a female flight attendant, which was bizarre to us. He ended up pleading guilty to it. Forgot the charges that he got. He didn't do any time. I'm almost certain he has to register. Doing this on a plane is insane, number one. Doing anything this crazy on a plane, last thing I want to be on is a no-fly list, but we're not going on tangents yet. We'll do that like 8 minutes in. Moving forward, he came back. The first interview that I've seen him do was on No Jumper, which No Jumper is kind of killing it when it comes to getting these interviews. They got Kodak Black, they got Desiigner, they had the Pop Smoke Killer, dude. They're on a roll with what people want to see. Don't lie, don't cap, like, oh man, nobody's trying to see that. And then you click it, watch it while you're at home, pretend it, and then probably write a comment, damn, I can't believe he did this, while you're an hour and 15 minutes into the interview. They interview him, and he explains himself, what happened in that situation. So I'll roll the clip for you guys right now, and then we'll go over it.
And so, okay, you're flying back from Tokyo. What were you doing in Tokyo?
Tour, Thailand, and just really just, you feel me, selling merch. I had sold $80,000 in merch. I had to my PMR, me and A Boogie, we did a great relationship. Shout out my bro A Boogie, you know, and just, you know, just kept it going.
Okay, and so, like, what was going on? Was it a drugs thing, or like, what led to you having this meltdown?
Mentally, Adam, I wasn't in the right place. Like, I had a long time to think about this, and it's just like, literally, mentally, I wasn't in the right place. I was just like having so much fun. I was just having so much fun and just like, not controlling myself at the time. So, you know, I came back home though, and I just really just started bettering myself from there. I was just like, yo, it's time to read more, it's time to go on hikes, it's time to work out, it's time to really put myself in, build a mental, you know, camp for myself for really just putting it together. I had wound up going to Music Cares, I had wound up going to NAMI, 1-800 numbers, and just building myself from there.
But so what, like, because I feel like part of the fascination with this storyline for people and why it went so viral is that people just didn't really understand. So was it like, you thought that it was funny, or was it more something where like you were just fully like tweaked out of your mind and you just didn't know what you were doing?
Yeah, didn't know what I was doing. I was fully tweaked out of my mind. This is when I was vegan. I didn't have enough sugars and stuff like that. Yeah, so it was like I was kind of like out of my body. It was an OBE experience, like word. It really wasn't like who my character was, and it's just like word, bro. I was on medication. I took medication and word, and just went to sleep on the plane.
And so the FBI's waiting for you when you land?
Word, for real.
And what was that whole process like? Like, what kind of questions were they asking, and how concerned were they?
Oh man, they was like, yo, like, why would you do that on a plane? I'm like, out of my body, saying just like wild shit, just like, yo, like, but word, I had to get back home and just get myself together, word, meditate, get myself back together and stuff like that, excuse me.
And so are you someone who's always like really in touch with what people are saying in the media and everything? Like, was that kind of you up to see people just painting you as like a mega weirdo or whatever after that?
Of course, because it's my first time being famous, you know what I mean, in life, and I'm just like, yo, just thinking like, damn, I hope nobody thinks I'm a pervert or anything. Like, that's not what I'm all about, you feel me? I'm all about just like love and just like keeping things going and stuff.
So a couple of different things here. I was one of the people that was harsh on Desiigner when this happened, justifiably so. Look, he's like, oh, I don't want people thinking I'm a pervert. Man, we're going to judge by the actions, right? A lot of the time, people are judging somebody based off of what somebody else said about them. We don't have any charges. We don't have anything else, and that person's getting painted. So if Desiigner got charged with this, did it on a plane, there were other witnesses, yeah, the action is an action of a really, really weird, perverted individual. Someone that should be away from society in that scenario. Now, maybe he knows himself. He's like, man, I've never done anything close to this before. This is just something completely when I've lost my mind. Then that's a different conversation. And he gave a little bit of an odd explanation. He said, oh, when Adam asked him about the media talking about him in this way and painting him a certain way, which I think it's just painting him exactly what the reports say. He said, yeah, it's his first time being famous. I'm just like, what? What are you talking about? And when he was talking about his experience when he was in Japan, he said, oh, I was wilding out. I was having a really crazy time. I don't think there was a time when Desiigner was more famous and having a crazier time than in 2016 when he was rolling around with Ye, performing Zombie Walk and Panda everywhere. At that point, that was the peak of stimulation, not that kind, right? We're talking about external stimuli, people always wanting to see him, people always wanting him to perform, all these different performances of him being posted everywhere, him being recognized everywhere. But perhaps that's the feeling he had when he was in Asia. That was probably his first time in a no. He had been in Japan before. I remember he was performing at different military bases, I think. So he had been to Asia before. It might have been his first time in Thailand, though. But yeah, so he spent some time there, and then he continues on to, I wouldn't say blame it on a vegan diet. However, he did allude to his diet contributing to him being mentally unwell and not all the way there. And he says he wasn't in his right mind when he did that. He says that he doesn't even know what he was doing. He doesn't know what he was thinking. He said he was on a vegan diet, which he felt very unhealthy on. He said he didn't feel like he was getting enough sugars. There are probably a lot of different components that go into it. And I'm inclined to believe him. I'm not going to blame it on the vegan diet, but I can understand how someone that's on that diet will feel very off, especially if they're not supplementing it properly. It's a complex diet for those that actually follow it and want to make sure that they're getting all the vitamins and stuff. And for someone to be traveling on that diet too is very, very difficult. So he was on that diet, and then he talks about how he changed his life when he came back. He changed up his diet, number one. He started getting himself some help. That's one thing that he talked about. A bunch of people thought that was PR answer, which of course a PR company should be giving him the answer, but he followed through with all of that stuff, and now he seems more stable and healthy than ever. The question is, though, was Desiigner just tweaking out back then when he was just jumping all around, or do they got him on some drugs now that's calmed him down? I will say, if they've got him on some drugs that have calmed him down and are going to prevent him from doing that in the future, keep him on those things, keep him medicated. But I don't think he's on any drugs. He sounds very sound of mind. He sounds very calm. He looks a lot bigger. No diddy, no homo. He just looks like he's built some size on himself. He looks very healthy. In the beginning, when he was younger, he was very slim, skinny, you could call it. He was also 17, 18 years old, so he probably had not fully grown into his adult body. But even a couple of years ago, he didn't look as in shape as he is right now. He looks a lot more muscular. He's able to get out all of his thoughts coherently. We can understand everything he's saying. We can understand the point he's trying to make. Shared a lot of different things. And this is a moment in his career where I'm glad that he was able to reset and think about all the other important aspects of his life before music. Because Desiigner's set himself up with such a smash hit song and a couple of other songs that he's appeared on where money is not an issue. And Desiigner doesn't seem like the guy that spends frivolously. So Desiigner will not have financial issues if he handles himself decently, potentially his entire life. And he's still young. He's like, 23, 24 now? I don't even think the guy's 25 yet. He might be. I know he's well under 30. So he's probably like 27 at the max. I'm just calculating. If he was 18, 2016, you throw 8 years on there, that's 24. So he should be younger than 25, unless I'm mistaken it somehow. But I'm glad that we got to hear from Desiigner. I'm glad that he got himself together. And the fact that he took full accountability of it. He's like, yeah, I did that. I didn't know what I was doing, which is the part that's a little bit bizarre to me. And I went in on Desiigner, but hey, the guy went through the legal process. He took his plea deal. He went, got himself fixed up, if you want to call it. No, he went and got himself some help. He got a lot healthier. He came back bigger, stronger, more experienced, and is sharing that experience with us. So this is something I'd personally like to see more of. Not the crime part, of course, but artists where I wouldn't even necessarily say they may have fallen off, but artists taking the time off and focusing on other aspects of their life and coming back, because that probably gives new perspective and a new opportunity to drop music. Because a lot of music, or a lot of great music, comes out of conflict. And this is internal conflict that Desiigner had to go through, with the external being the media and how people presumed his entire character for the past year or so. And that frustration and changing your life in these other aspects, which is getting a lot healthier, that's another, I wouldn't say roadblock, but it's friction that is new and it's difficult. and all these other aspects of his life probably gave him new ideas for music. I'm not saying the guy's got to like be preaching lyrically, but it probably just enables different types of emotions that he can channel when he's making music. I think he just recently dropped a song too, so you should check that out if you haven't. I haven't checked it out yet, but I will after, I promise. Because I was wondering, there's no way he's just doing all these interviews without having anything out. But yeah, he's dropped a song. And that's the thing too. Desiigner's at a point where if he just consistently drops just singles, they're at least going to do 250,000 streams. So he could build up more of a catalog now. And he's never really released consistently. That was a problem that he had when he was back on Good Music. That's a completely different conversation. Is it a conversation for another day? I wouldn't necessarily say so. I've already covered that mainly on the main channel in different videos about Desiigner's label situation, Good Music, and all that. So if you want to watch that and learn more, you could do that. But I'm glad Desiigner's healthy. This is the kind of stuff I like to see. I don't want to see Desiigner strung out. We could have easily just seen him hop on a bunch more drugs to try to numb himself. And we don't even know if Desiigner was really doing crazy drugs like that throughout his career. Because the question that a lot of us had was, this guy was in Tokyo. He would be tweaking if he was doing drugs there, right? Like, you should definitely not be doing drugs there. And everything's illegal. So we were thinking, all right, this guy's coming back from Japan. He's got to be of sound mind in doing this. But perhaps he was deficient in a bunch of things. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you welcoming Desiigner back? Hey, he took accountability. He didn't do the drive-by on the lady's leg, at least, like that one weirdo from Philadelphia. Man, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on lately. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm glad Desiigner's getting himself back together. I'm glad we get a coherent interview from Desiigner without him jumping off the walls. Now, if we could just get that out of Bobby Shmurda, that would be amazing. But who's really trying to hear from Bobby Shmurda right now? What has he done in the past couple of years for us to care? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.